So, fast factor. You don't have to write this part down yet, but just know, when the leading coefficient of a quadratic is 1, then there is a shortcut for factoring. So when our coefficient for our leading coefficient is 1, we're going to be able to do fast factor. We're going to have a shortcut, okay? But you can only do it if the first coefficient is 1, okay? So if this is like 3x squared, you couldn't do it. If it was 10x squared, you couldn't do it. You could only do it if the leading coefficient is 1. Okay, so refresher. You guys actually, if you want, because we just did the refresher with the opener, if you guys would like, you don't have to do these top 2 examples. I feel like we just did these, right? You guys comfortable with not doing the top 2 examples? Yeah. Okay, so you guys can go ahead and put an X through those. So what I showed you in the opener was that the numbers that we got for MA ended up being our final answers. So let's take a look at that. Let's still go ahead and find our M. So what's our M for this first quadratic, for this first expression?
36.
36? Wait. My M?
Oh,
if I take 1
that.
times 12, we're not going to do it. I'm just showing you something.
Oh, 12.
So that equals 12. What's my A?
Your A is 8.
My A is 8. What variable are we using? So what's my MA? So what can I multiply together to get 12 and add together to get 8? Look at your blue cheat sheet.
Wait, what is that?
What can I multiply together to get 12 but add together to get 8?
This is like a, like
3 times 4 would get me 12, but 3 plus 4 would get me 7.
2 and 6.
2 and 6. So this is my answer for my MA, right? So what I'm going to do with that, A plus 2, and then A plus 6. And that's going to be my final answer. That's it. But you can only do it if the coefficient is 1. So basically, we just skipped filling out the area model. But you can only do that if the first coefficient is 1. Okay? So let's look at this next one. C squared plus 10C plus 24. What's my M?
24.
So I took 1 times 24 because my first coefficient is 1. What's my A?
10.
Okay. Now look at your blue sheet. Find your 24. Which of those factors, so 24, find it on your sheet. Which of those factors can you add together to get to 10?
4 and 6.
So you're going to take the answer from your MA. What's the variable that we're working with here? Okay, it's going to be C, because it's a positive 4, parentheses. And then, what's the second part of my MA?
C.
So that's it. That's it, guys. But it does not work for every quadratic expression that we're going to see. It does not work for every expression, okay? Only if what? For the first coefficient. Good. All right. So let's look at the bottom here. All right, Danny, what's my M?
36 times 1.
Which is?
36.
What's my A?
15.
Okay. And then what's my MA? What numbers can I multiply for my M and for my A?
6 and 6.
I disagree. If I take 6 times 6, I get 36. You're right. But if I take 6 plus 6, I only get 12. Look at your blue sheet. Or you can write out the factors too, whichever you prefer. You don't have a blue sheet? There's some back there in that yellow folder, the multiplication charts, if you want to grab one. Hanno, what's my MA? What can I multiply together to get 36 and add together to get 15? Where's your blue sheet at? Riley, what can I multiply together to get 36 and add together to get 15?
Or 3 and 12.
So if I take 3 times 12, they will multiply together to get 36. And if I take 3 plus 12, they'll add together to get 15. Okay, Riley, tell me my final answer then. If I tell you to factor this quadratic, what are you going to end up getting? What variable are you working with?
D.
Okay, so D.
Plus 3.
Okay.
You're going to
parentheses, parentheses.
D plus 12.
That's it. Bam. Now, could I write my answer as D plus 12 times D plus 3? Yeah. I could reverse these. I could switch them, and your answer would still be correct. Okay? So you don't have to have them in the order that I have up on the board. You could actually switch them. All right, example number 2. Maddie, what's my M?
6.
What's my A? What's my A?
Is it 5?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. And then what's your MA?
1. Would be 4.
So on your blue sheet, find 6. Do I have 6 on there? Okay. And which of those numbers can you then add together to get
2 and 3.
2 and 3? So if I take 2 times 3, I'll get 6. 2 plus 3, I'll get 5. All right, then tell me your answer, Maddie.
Okay. E plus 2. C and then E plus C.
Perfect. Last one, I'm going to have Ben do. Ben, what's your M?
Okay, M equals 10.
Give me a second.
A equals 11.
Okay, so what can you multiply to get 10 and add to get 11?
1 comma 10.
So that's your MA.
And then equals F plus 1. Parentheses around that. And F plus 10 and parentheses around that as well. And box it. And that's it.
That's it. Guys, that's all you're doing. Okay?
A lot better.
Now, it's a lot better, but you can only do it when what?
There's 1 in the front.
There's a 1 in the front. The first coefficient is a 1. Okay? So if we look at our last problem on the back of our sheet, example number 4, can I fast factor this? No. I cannot fast factor this. So I'm going to have to factor this the normal way. So when I factor this the normal way, how many steps am I going to have to follow in order to complete this? How many steps am I going to have to complete in order to factor this area model?
A lot of
Guys, look at your notes. Help me out here. I can't take your quizzes for you. I can't take your tests for you. You have to know how to do this. You have to be able to answer my questions.
Refactoring, right?
Okay, so what I like to see on Maddie's sheet right now, she has the first part written out. She's finding step 1. Okay, Maddie, what's your step 1?
The M and A.
So she's taking the first coefficient times the third coefficient to get 60. What's your A, Maddie?
16.
16. So there she completed step 1. Step 2, she's then going to look, or you are going to look, on your factor sheet. Which number should you be looking at on your factor sheet? 60. And under there, look at those factors. Which of those can you add together to get 16?
6 and 10.
There's step 2. All right. Step 3 tells me to do what? What do I do from here? Good.
Put 6 in the top right, and then the 10 on the bottom left.
And what variable do we want to go with those?
G.
Okay. So basically that 10 and 6, they represent part of the area of my model, right? So I'm going to fill in the rest of my areas to finish up step 3. What's my first area then?
3G.
And then my last area?
20.
All right, so there's step 3. Step 4. What's step 4? Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. That doesn't really show very well there. What's step 4?
Greatest common factor.
Of the
Free.
top row. So I'm going to look at my top row here, and I'm going to find the greatest common factor of that by doing my factor tree. Now, what type of number is 3? Can I factor it? It's prime, so I'm going to circle it. Okay, what are my factors of 6?
2 and 3, and the greatest common factor is 3.
Yep, so they share a 3. Not only is it 3, but they also share a variable. What variable?
3G.
G. So the greatest common factor becomes my height. So there's step 4. And now we're on our last step. Our last step is to fill out our area model. So, Riley, how do I start filling out my area model? How do I finish filling it out, I should say?
Find the height point.
Okay, so 3g times what will get me to 3g squared? 1 what? 1 what?
G.
Okay, I'm just going to put the g because it means the same thing. Okay, find the height of my second rectangle.
Two.
Okay, and because those are the links at the top, what do I do with that information?
Bring it down.
Bring it down. And what am I looking for on the bottom now? The height. So what times g gets me to 10g? 10. Does 10 times 2 equal 20? Yeah, so my height is then 10. And my favorite part of this whole entire process is writing the answer.
What will be going on? I did that backwards.
And so you're going to get g plus 2, 3g plus 10. That's fine.
I got a G.
Can I do it?
Yep, tell me my answer, Logan.
Of the parentheses, 3g plus 10, parentheses, 1g plus 2, and then parentheses.
Okay, so what Ben's saying, he's like, Miss Lydica, and my answer is backwards. He put his 10 in the upper right and his 6 in the bottom left, which is fine, but then that means Ben's answer is going to be flipped of what's up there, and that's okay. Just like your MA, your answer could be flipped. Any questions?